Okay, so this session is about CCTV in licensed private hire and taxi vehicles throughout the UK. The reason I've decided to do this seminar this year, we haven't done before, is purely simply because it is becoming far more of a topic. There are far more local authorities that are making it mandatory. I'm seeing the benefits and advantages of it. There are far more local authorities as well who have successfully achieved funding in order to support the industry in purchasing CCTV for their vehicles. We have been extremely proactive in writing the criteria, which we are hoping that will rapidly become a national standard throughout the UK and through Wales. And we've been working very closely with Lee at the Welsh Government to develop that policy and to get it absolutely nailed down. The Welsh Government have liaised with all the Welsh councils and with other CCTV system providers for their input to ensure that every single line of that criteria is analysed, is discussed and is debated in order to make it absolutely the latest version that is available. Okay? And that is rapidly becoming nationwide, not just within Wales itself as part of the white paper, but also within the UK. It's been adopted so far by York Council, Sheffield Council, Guildford, Cambridge, South Cambridge, and various others across the UK. Okay, so that's the reason for the purpose of this seminar today. So on the stage in front of you, you have yet again Lee, regular attendee on the stage from the Welsh Government, who can give their view on how they have worked with that and how it is being adopted and accepted, not just mandatory but voluntary as well within the Welsh Government. And we have Martin from York Council, who is here to discuss how they successfully achieved funding and how that worked out for them. And we have Mike, licensing manager from Guildford Council, who has recently made it a mandatory condition of licensing. We were supposed to have Rachel Jackson as well from South Cambridge, but she's given her apologies. But she did say that there are now 1,500 licensed vehicles within Cambridge, all of which are about CCTV. They have had 6 reports of serious allegations against drivers, all of which the CCTV have proven the drivers did no wrong. Her opinion of the trade, of the industry, and of the drivers has gone complete full circle. Because before it was there is no smoke without fire, an allegation must have some merit, whereas now she is absolutely horrified as to how low the passengers can go in order to make up such spurious allegations and potentially ruin the driver's lives. So without further ado, I shall hand over to the panel and let them introduce themselves and give their broad overview, and then we can open it for questions and answers. Okay?
Lee Beach from Welsh Government. Policy officers, Dave said, been working quite a lot on a voluntary CCTV document that could be changed to a mandatory CCTV document if the local authority wanted to mandate it.
Good afternoon, Martin Bisbee, licensing officer with City of York Council, as one of the smaller ones in the North Yorkshire area. Just recently, North York's joined a partnership with all the North Yorkshire authorities, apart from York, but we are part of the West Yorkshire Combined Authority as well. So York sits in the middle of 2 big authorities now, and we've a good working relationship with them.
Yes, so good afternoon. I'm Mike Smith. I'm here today with my company IRL stand, which is the licensing. So by day and night, I'm the licensing manager at Guildford Borough Council in Surrey. And as Dave said, we have recently introduced a mandatory CCTV policy, where all our carriage program have CCTV installed. Just to give you a brief overview of my experiences. So initially when we consulted on the idea with the licensed trade, we met with a fair bit of resistance. That seems to be the case in most areas. Generally, drivers were concerned about the cost of the system, data protection issues, and their widespread fear that we would be sat in control room watching them all the time on cameras, So all sorts of things that drivers came to us with reason not to do it, whereby the overarching reason for the policy in the first place was one of public safety, and that's what kind of a sort of holistic definition of public safety. We're not just concerned about drivers potentially attacking people. We're concerned about people potentially attacking drivers and making sure the drivers are safe, when they are carrying out their work. Guildford is a sort of principal town in Surrey. It's not a city; it's a principal town in Surrey. We have 3 higher education institutions, a very active nighttime economy, sort of 4 large nightclubs in one particular area of town. So we do have a number of issues in the nighttime economy that includes drivers being subject to abuse, attacks, etc., people running away. So very much we wanted to introduce this policy to protect drivers and make sure they were sort of safe when they went out to work at night. Like any authority, we deal with a number of complaints about the trade and the service that's provided. Some we have some complaints in the past of the very serious nature of drivers doing horrible things to people. And very much the position we have as a local authority is that we have to treat each complaint seriously. If someone's prepared to come forward to us and say, I've had this done to me by a taxi driver, we very much have to exercise the precaution principle. That can mean drivers being taken off the road as a precaution measure as a result of these allegations. However, since we've had the CCTV policy, we've not had we've had the requirement was for all drivers, all vehicles to have CCTV from the 1st of April 2023, after which time wouldn't be renewed. So over the last 12 months, we've been in a position now where all vehicles have got CCTV now. We've not had any serious allegations against drivers, whereas at one point a few years ago we had 5 in a week at one point. We've not had any serious allegations against drivers now, which is good. However, we have had occasions where we've had routine complaints about drivers, for example, standards of driving. This driver registers towards me, etc., which we've been able to go and look at the footage and say actually, in about 90% of the cases, the complaints have been found to be unfounded. So we've been able to sort of negate that concern very easily, and that driver hasn't got a mark on their record. We've not had to take any further action against them because the CCTV is independently verified. The complaint is substantiated. We've also been able to provide a number of occasions of assistance to drivers. So when drivers have had an accident in their vehicle, they come to us and ask for the footage. We've been able to download the footage for them. That helps both with their insurance claim. We also dealt with a complaint last week where a driver was subject to a clear non-fault accident. However, the other party was claiming they were at fault. They were claiming whiplash, all the other sorts of things you'd expect. And the CCTV footage was very clear. The driver wasn't at fault, and we provided them with the footage for their insurance company, and hopefully they're from that point of view. So all in all, it's a very, very positive experience so far with CCTV, despite the initial sort of concern of the drivers. I think we've sort of got over that now. Working with our suppliers, they've been very helpful in sort of speaking to the trade and negating their concerns when they come to sort of claim them up and make them clear. So hopefully a very positive experience. Hand over to Martin.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes, thank you. The City of York involvement came through the Police and Crime Commission, where we obtained funding in 2022. However, it was a very late notification that we got an amount of money that needed to be spent literally within a month time. That threw a bit of a wobbly with the head shed. So we sorted out that we needed a policy, we needed specifications. We did involve Dave on that. He's very, very helpful with all these specifications and what would be required for CCTV. Because of the funding was actually from the Commission, it didn't cost the drivers anything. And so we'd agreed the price that we would pay for the units. But surprisingly, the uptake wasn't brilliant. But then again, that's just on the short notice. And we managed to get 68 units out on the first trawl. With great promotion for City of York, and everybody thought it was a good idea. We've had 1 or 2 incidents where drivers have argued, they've been reported, etc. In the past, that used to take quite a bit of time to sort out. We'd have to interview the customer, interview the driver, a bit protracted. And one of them turned around last month and said, if I'd have had CCTV, that could have been sorted in 5 minutes. Not quite, because they need the data controller to look at the footage, but it is available for them. We've not made it mandatory because we've only got about 800 hackney carriage and private hire vehicles within the fleet. And the fact that if we made it mandatory, that would mean City of York Council would have to be the data controller, and they didn't think that was a brilliant idea at the time. So we gave the option to the drivers and the owners. They could either be data controller or the installer. And Safe Systems, along with the HCSS and another company down in Wales that didn't do much business, in fact they didn't do any business, they had the option of going to the three of them to do the installation. Everybody thinks it's great. Then we had last year, we had some more funding from the Police and Crime Commission. Sadly, the uptake was only 8 units, and that's out of the 800 vehicles available. That had been pretty poor uptake. However, those that have taken it up are absolutely delighted with the systems, delighted that they've actually got some kind of protection. It does save them from false accusations. On the downside of that, unfortunately, one of our drivers has lost his licence. He was travelling down a one-way system, 2 lanes, saw in the distance a pedestrian, a little bit drunk, a little bit staggering around, still carried on down this road. By the time he decided that the pedestrian may step into the road, got the car at the side of him, he couldn't go anywhere, so he braked, not too quickly, unfortunately, and hit the pedestrian. Held his hands up to that as the police came and investigated and told them exactly what had happened. And they said, yeah, okay, fine. I've got CCTV. Oh, we'll have a look at it. So they've looked at it and they said, you're right. Everything you told us is correct. However, 54 mile an hour in a 30 zone is not good news. So unfortunately, that driver succumbed to the evidence that it was there and it's date stamped and everything, so there's no issues. That's led on to some of the drivers saying, oh, Big Brother's watching us or you're spying on us. It's not the case. We don't do that. What I would like to see, I don't know if it's available, Dave, is facial recognition for the driver. If they,
It is possible.
yeah, so we get some complaints. York being a tourist city, we have a lot of students. They're not quite savvy with things like normal day-to-day running. Give them computers, telephones and other like that, the whiz kids. But when it comes down to, did you see the driver's badge number? Did you get a name? Did you get a vehicle registration or plate number? Absolutely nothing. Can you describe the driver? Yeah, and they give a brief description, which is really nothing. If we can find that driver, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. If we find them, they deny it. How about me? Well, who was driving the vehicle? They just come to a blank wall, but the technology is there now. That'd be great assistance. And as soon as you sit in, you turn on the ignition, whatever, the system fires up, and there's your facial recognition. To me, that'd be a great move on that one. But back to it being mandatory, we've no plans to make it mandatory at all now. We just find that it is a great assistance.
Okay, thank you. Lee?
Yeah, I just want to say that the Welsh Government have not yet published the new CCTV guidance, so don't look at our website for it. Please do contact even the local authorities that are already using the latest version. We will look to publish it, but we're also looking to do some other tweaks to guidance at the same time. And that's where the delay is really, but it is imminent, is what I would say. Obviously, massive benefits to CCTV, as the panel's already outlined, and it's a great use of safety, isn't it, for the driver as well as the passenger. And I think it's very worth it. What I would say is we know there's a lot of cameras that are out there that are not compliant, they're not ICO compliant. Data controllers are not registered, etc. And we need to avoid that practice. So if you are going to have it, please do install a proper system that meets the specifications.
Thank you. Okay, at the back.
So, Sorry, I came in late. I was just wondering, as you bring up the new legislation, you bring up new products, is there a way of educating people as to why best practices? Because obviously you're bringing something new out, which I think is very, very good, but to put people's minds at rest, because they're being filmed and people always have conflict of interest, or they think there's other reasons behind it. Is there a way where you can educate your users, your controllers, the local authorities as why this is happening?
I can answer that one. Let's go right back to the beginning. Why did I design CCTV to start with? As a trade representative, I got absolutely sick and tired of drivers being attacked, robbed, the customers have done a runner, they call the police might turn up, and when they do turn up, their hands are tied because there is no evidence to support the allegation. It's your word against theirs. They can't take any action because there is no evidence. However, if that passenger accuses the driver of having said something wrong, let alone touched them or attacked them or anything like that, that driver will find himself hauled in front of a licensing committee, at which point the burden of proof is completely different. Not magistrates anymore, we're now on civil law, which is bound to probabilities, and that driver is likely to lose his license, not because there is evidence, but because there is a lack of defence. That's what the CCTV is there for, to get rid of the he said, she said scenario, to provide both evidence and defence. But as Lee said, it is absolutely crucial, because when I first started on this path, I came out with dash cams, and then got a flush from my vehicle. And he said, oh, does this do that? Yes. Does it do that? Of course it does. Does it do this? Yes, of course it does. Does it record audio? Of course it does. You need to look at the legislations. You are committing so many offences right now, it is unbelievable. So that's what made me start looking and digging into the ICO best practice guidance, the UK GDPR, the code of conduct for the use of recording equipment, looking at local authorities' criteria and policies, seeing that Glasgow, for example, you have to have a notification form for Glasgow for installing CCTV to your vehicle. You pay £75 to have that notification form or to have that consent letter. The drivers then think they have a license to record because the Glasgow Council has given it to them. That's not a license to record. That is a council consent to install something in your vehicle. It has nothing to do with the Data Protection Act at all. So you then ask Glasgow Council, okay, you've issued this piece of paper that says I can put recording equipment into my vehicle, can I use a dash cam? And they will say, yes, you can. Our survey said, no, you can't. So let's look at the legislation. What did I discover when I looked at the ICO website? What did I look? What did I find? Why was the use of dash cams so wrong? Okay, so the rules are quite simple. There are 4. Number 1. The device must be securely mounted. You show me a dash cam that you cannot remove from that windscreen within 3 seconds flat. Number 2, the data must be stored away from the camera head. You show me a dash cam where the data is not stored on an SD card shoved up its bum. Number 3, the data must be encrypted. You show me a dash cam where I can't take that dash cam off that windscreen, take the SD card out, shove it into the computer and watch everything that's been on it. And even if they claim to be encrypted, you can go on the dashcam manufacturer's website and download the decryption software, rendering it absolutely useless. Then, of course, you've got the use of audio. There must be an active panic switch to activate the audio. If it's not there, you cannot use audio at all. Okay? That's that. But let's look at whether they're fit for purpose. Okay? If you are accused of something, the only evidence you have is a dash cam. Within 24 hours, that data has been overwritten. By the time you get to know that you've been reported for something to the police or to the council, that data is gone, so is your defence. If you've been attacked, the attacker's going to see that camera. He's not going to want to leave the evidence of that camera in that car after he's just attacked you. He's going to reach up and take you with him. So you've got no evidence either. But worse than that, he now has the data, which includes the images of every other person that's travelled in that vehicle previously. And if he posts that on social media, you're in for the high jump. They're not fit for purpose either, and they're not legal. Okay? So That is the reason for CCTV, because certainly with the likes of Uber and Drive being deactivated at a whim, it is crucial to protect yourself. And that's why I welcome the comments of all three of the people here on your panel right now. This is to protect you, your license, your freedom. Okay? It has been challenged 3 times and has been lost all 3 times, including Cambridge, where they applied for judicial review and they got rejected the judicial review in order to pay back costs to the council of £4,600, I think it was. All right? So it is rapidly expanding, it's rapidly growing, and it is there to protect you. We can assist, we can support, but more importantly, work with the council. There is no people that are watching you. They would need a room with screens the size of this building, with screens so that they could watch all of those cameras. They are not remote access, and the reason for it isn't because it would happen, it's because of that fear of it happening. So we just disable remote access and say, right, okay, there's the data, it's in the hard drive. If you need to view it, you can only view it by physically connecting the hard drive to a computer. And that way, there is no fear of people watching me. Okay? I think we've clarified everything. Any final points? Any questions? Yeah. Liam? Liam from ACSS. Thank you very much. Welcome.
Thank you, Dave. My question is more around barriers to entry with certain councils. Mike, as you said now with Guildford, that you are instating a mandatory policy. What are your rulings with regards to certain companies now approaching you with regards to applying to be a supplier? I know SCSS, we've understood the regulations with Guildford, we've accepted them, but now as you say, you're going into a mandatory status. Is there room for entry? As you've seen, we do supply to a number of different other councils with acceptance. We do look at a lot of the work that Dave does for us here as well. Just the overview of that. Is there more acceptance now of other suppliers to come in, or is the gate kind of still closed?
So with regards to your question, so each local authority is bound by its own a number of rules around procurement. That includes not just where the local authority buys something on their behalf, on their own, or whether they are directing people to go to another supplier who is approved. So local authorities have a number of rules around procurement. In Guildford, what we did was we had the specification, we put that out to tender, a number of people bid for contracts that were sort of assessed by our procurement team, and we sort of selected people who met the criteria, on the basis of the assessment at the time. With regard to sort of revisiting that decision again, I had your email back up to our procurement team, so that's with them in the moment. I'll chase up a response for you. As to kind of the policies around sort of revisiting it. But certainly there would likely be a time period where the original suppliers will be contracted together for a certain period of time. Then after that period of time, we'll have to revisit that thing again. So there's a number of rules around procurement. It would likely be that local authorities will have to do some form of exercise in the future in order to maintain that relationship. So I hope that still good.
Okay. Finally, Patrick. Sorry, Patrick, just hang on for a moment, please.
Sorry, Guildford, who's the data controller?
Where it's mandatory, it is the local authority.
Yes, so we have quite clearly said we mandate CCTV. We are the data controller. It's only us that is able to access the data system.
And second question for both of you: have you had any issues with drivers refusing to show you the footage or bring the device in for checking?
No, because it is a condition of license that they make that available to us on request. And if they fail to do so, then we will effectively say you cannot provide your conditions. And if there's a serious allegation against you, we're going to add some weight to that allegation if you're refusing to come in. What we have had is occasions of drivers where the drivers have, I think they've played with the system and it's not working properly. We've reminded drivers that it's all fairly new into this. The drivers are playing around with it, they're looking at it, we said to drivers that it's got to be on all the time, so they've got system health indicators and things in the car to say it should be working. If it's not working, it is you're at risk conditions, and you get it fixed from the supplier. So we had a couple of occasions where drivers' systems haven't been working because I think they've played with it, or tampering with it, or taking cables out, or taking fuses out. So that's the issue. We're there's a sort of teething problem with at the moment, but I think that's the education is it's a continuing phase of education, making sure the drivers are aware it's got to be working at all times. If it isn't, then they're at risk if they don't allow it to. If they don't make sure it's there.
Just to reinforce that ever so slightly, is actually written into the ICO regulations that the data controller must supply data where there is a legitimate interest, and it will be an offence under the Data Protection Act to refuse to do so to an investigating body. That would include yourself as the police force, it would include insurance companies. Actually, it also includes members of the public because they have a right to view their own data as well. So actually, it would be an offence.
So if the driver, if it was broken, wasn't getting it fixed, would you consider a suspension of the vehicle licence?
Yes, certainly. If the vehicle hasn't got CCTV as those conditions, then yes, that would be a ground suspension. In addition, if the driver is aware of the issue, hasn't fixed the CCTV, I would be questioning whether they are fit and proper person who needs to be licensed because of the public safety rationale of the system.
Okay. Just add to that, on York's agreement with the drivers or the owners, we have put in a condition there that if the CCTV system is not functioning, then the vehicle is deemed unfit for purpose and it's off the road until it's rectified. So far, out of the 2 years, we've only had 2 owner drivers actually say the CCTV is not working, and we've sorted that out with them. But going back to your question about refusing to answer that one, probably rightly or wrongly, we do lean on them a little bit way, and they get the caution. Basically, it's explained to them that if they don't provide the CCTV, it reverts back to he said, she said, and if they don't provide it, you interview them under caution and just remind them that anything they do say that they want to use in evidence ain't happening. It usually does work. There's no great objection to that, and we have very little resistance to why they should want to actually refuse to do it. We've at the moment we've had a good record with having the CCTV actually viewed. I think we had a couple of requests from your.
I think we've had about 4.
4, yeah, okay. And I know there's been one from ACSS that we mentioned earlier. Again, that one is like liaison between ourselves and the driver. His vehicle then was substantially damaged, but the insurance company wrote it off and it went to Copart up in somewhere up top end of Durham. And he had to go and retrieve the hard drive. They'd never thought to retrieve it. So of course, as soon as the insurance company wrote it off, on the low load and gone. So he had the unfortunate task of going up to Durham and retrieving that. And then he was okay with that. But as I say, that was an unfortunate outcome for that driver. It showed him transgressing the law.
Okay, so I'm now going to give you, Andy, can we set the microphone to the back? So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I'm also going to read out a statement that Rachel Jackson from South Cambridge sent in because she wasn't here to read out herself. The judicial review application request for the trade against CCTV policy was rejected. 3 approved installers that they have, and they have an excellent partnership with those suppliers. CCTV is installed in over 1,300 vehicles since April 2023. The CCTV recordings have been used to assist the police in 2 major inquiries where the driver was not involved. The CCTV recordings have protected 6 drivers who would previously have had their licenses revoked due to allegations of unwanted sexual advances or assault. The reports were at times exceptionally disturbing, but the CCTV footage proved the innocence of the drivers in each instance, thereby protecting their livelihood and more. CCTV has helped secure the conviction of a repeat fare dodger and thief who blatantly stole money from drivers as it was caught on recordings. Overall, the council is exceptionally pleased with how CCTV enhanced public safety, but crucially assisted drivers and made their working environment safer. So that's from Rachel, South Cambridge Council. So I'm going to give you two brief examples. One of them was a police force that came to us. They'd had an allegation from Uber, a report from Uber, that the driver had raped the passenger. They came to us, we reviewed the footage. The passenger who got in was taken to a speed bank, was then taken to their destination. They offered a £20 tip, which the driver attempted to reject, but the passenger insisted, so he accepted it. He then pointed to the floor and alerted her to the customer to the fact that she dropped her phone on the floor. She picked the phone up, thanked him and left, and then went on to Uber and used him a break. That's how risky your actual jobs are on a daily basis. There was another one in Rotherham where the driver was accused, very similar to the driver incident before, where he was accused of driving excessive speed along the dual carriageway, hitting a pedestrian who is now in a wheelchair for life. The CCTV with the forward-facing cameras showed that the driver was driving as normal on the dual carriageway as accused, but the passenger legged it over a fence, hopped across the dual carriageway and landed on the driver's bonnet. There was no way the driver could have seen it coming. So he was cleared, again, thanks to CCTV. We have one final question at the back. Yep, that.
Sorry. Thank you.
Sorry, I do have one question for the gentleman from Guildford. If a taxi driver is asked to submit CCTV, is there a time period that you allow them specifically, or is it as and when they can?
Off the top of my head, I think we asked them to come in within 48 hours of being asked, yes. Off the top of my head, yes.
Okay, I was just referring to Sir David's example with the DSAR. We've got 30 days within data protection to actually give that information back to the individuals. So I'm trying to ascertain, is there any general knowledge for taxi drivers so they know they have a time period that they have to hand that information into the data controllers? Because it would potentially put a risk on the data controllers to be fined potentially from the ICO. So for me, it's an educational piece. It goes hand in hand with CCTV. It's there to protect the drivers, but they need to understand that they have time periods to hand that information in. And also, are you informing them why it's being requested?
Yes, so when drivers are asked to come in, as off the top of my head, I think the conditions say they've got to come in 48 hours. We always told them it is as a result of a complaint, for example. And so they're always given a reason as to why they're asked to come in. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much to our esteemed guests on the stage for your input. Very much appreciated. Thank you.